Being home alone is supposed to be peaceful, a break from the world where you can relax in silence. But what if the silence isn't empty? What if the walls remember things that happened long ago? What if the shadows in the corners aren't just tricks of the light? Some people spend nights in the most haunted places on earth, convinced that ghosts aren't real, until they hear a knock when no one is there, until they see something move out of the corner of their eye, until they realize they are not alone. These are their stories. Story 1. The House That Never Lets You Leave. Ethan was a travel vlogger, always searching for the most unique places to stay. When he found an abandoned mansion turned Airbnb deep in the Louisiana bayou, he had to book it. The listing described it as a piece of history, dating back to the 1800s, once owned by a wealthy sugar plantation family. The reviews were few, but the pictures were stunning. Grand staircases, high ceilings, antique furniture. It was perfect, or so he thought, the moment he arrived. The air felt heavy, humid, like stepping into a place frozen in time. The house was too quiet, despite the thick trees swaying outside. The first night, Ethan filmed his usual house tour for his channel. Then, a whisper, soft, barely audible, "Get out." He turned. Nothing. His breath quickened, but he convinced himself it was just an old house settling. Then, at 3 a.m., his phone screen lit up, a notification, new video uploaded. His stomach dropped. He hadn't uploaded anything. Hands shaking. He clicked the video. It was footage of him, sleeping. The angle was wrong, not from his camera, not from his tripod. The video was filmed from inside the closet. His closet. A single, slow breath crackled through the audio. Then, a whisper, "You're not leaving." Ethan ran. Didn't pack. Didn't look back. Just drove. Hours later, when he finally stopped at a gas station, he checked his phone again. The video was gone. The Airbnb listing? Deleted. The mansion? No records of it ever existing. Ethan never booked a haunted location again. And sometimes, late at night, his phone screen flickers, as if someone is still watching. Story 2. The window at the cabin. Olivia wanted an escape. City life was exhausting, and the idea of spending a weekend alone in a remote mountain cabin sounded perfect. No noise, no people, just her, a fireplace, and the sound of rain against the roof. The listing was beautiful. A small wooden cabin deep in the forest, with large windows that let in the moonlight. The host's only warning? At night, keep the curtains closed. She didn't think much of it. The first day was peaceful. She hiked, made dinner, and curled up by the fire with a book. The silence was comforting, until it wasn't. At midnight, Olivia woke up. A sound outside. A slow, deliberate tap, tap, tap against the glass. Her breath hitched. Rain? No, it was too steady, too intentional. The cabin was pitch black, except for the dying embers in the fireplace. The only light came from a window, the one she forgot to cover. And in that window, a reflection, not hers. Someone, something was outside, standing completely still, watching. She did not move. She did not breathe. Then, a slow tilt of its head, like it knew she saw it. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. No signal. The tapping stopped, but the reflection did not leave. Then, a whisper from inside the cabin. "Why did you open curtains?" She didn't remember running, didn't remember grabbing her keys. But in seconds, she was in her car, speeding down the empty forest road, her breath ragged, her mind screaming. By the time she reached town, Her hands were still shaking. The next morning, she got a message from the Airbnb host. "You left in a hurry. Did you see it?" She blocked the number. And now, whenever she stays somewhere new, she never forgets to close the curtains, because she knows something might be watching. And next time, it won't just be outside. Story 3. The room at the end of the hall. David wasn't afraid of ghosts. When his friends dared him to spend a weekend alone in one of the most haunted hotels in New Orleans, he laughed. A free stay? Easy. The hotel was old, the kind that creaked under its own weight, with dimly lit hallways and antique furniture that seemed frozen in time. His room was at the very end of the hall. The concierge handed him his key, but hesitated. "If you hear anything at night, just ignore it." David smirked. Typical ghost story nonsense. The first night was quiet. The second night, not so much. At 3:11 a.m., he woke up. A sound in the hall. Soft footsteps. Slow, uneven, coming toward his door. He held his breath, staring at the crack of light beneath the frame. A shadow moved. Not a normal shadow. Something thin. Wrong. It stopped right outside his door. David's pulse pounded in his ears. Silence. Then the handle turned. Slow. Deliberate. His blood ran cold. He grabbed his phone, heart hammering, waiting for the lock to click open, but it never did. Instead, a knock, light at first, then harder, then it stopped. David didn't sleep. The next morning, he confronted the concierge. "Look, man, I know you said to ignore it, but..." The man paled. "What room are you in?" 210. The concierge swallowed hard. "That's impossible." David frowned. "Why?" The man took a shaky breath. "That room has been empty for years. We never rent out." David turned cold. His hands shook as he pulled out his phone to check the booking confirmation. No record of it. No emails. No payment. No proof he had ever stayed there. His bags were already in the lobby, like someone had packed them for him. David never found out whose footsteps he heard that night, or who knocked on his door. But now, whenever he stays in a hotel, he always asks for a room in the middle of the hall, because something still lingers at the end, waiting. Story 4. The house that knew my name. Emma needed a break. Between work stress and a recent breakup, she wanted nothing more than a quiet weekend alone. She booked a secluded Airbnb in a small coastal town, a charming house with ocean views and no neighbor for miles. Exactly what she needed, or so she thought. The house was beautiful, too beautiful. Something about it felt too perfect, like a staged photo that had never been lived in. Then she found the notes. The first one was waiting on the kitchen counter. "Welcome, Emma." She frowned. She hadn't told the host her real name, just her account username. Brushing it off, she settled in, made tea, watched the waves crash against the cliffs. Then another note on her pillow. "You look tired. Rest well, Emma." Her stomach twisted. Had the host been here? Did someone enter while she was out? She checked the doors. Locked. Windows? Locked. Trying to ignore the chill creeping up her spine, she shoved the note into a drawer and went to bed. At 3 a.m., something woke her. A sound. A soft scratch, scratch, scratch outside her bedroom door. Her breath caught. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't the house settling. It was intentional. Then, a whisper. "Emma?" She froze. The voice was inside the room. She turned her head slowly. The closet door, which had been closed when she went to bed, was now slightly open. Darkness stretched inside. Something shifted. She didn't scream, didn't move. Then, a third note, sitting on the nightstand. Don't look inside. Emma ran. Didn't pack. Didn't care. Just grabbed her keys and left, driving through the empty roads until she reached the nearest motel. At sunrise, she called Airbnb support. They told her something that made her stomach drop. There was no record of the house ever being listed. No host. No address. Nothing. Like it had never existed. To this day, Emma still wonders if she had looked inside the closet. Would she still exist? Some places don't just hold memories. They collect them. And when you're alone in a house that feels off, maybe you're not really alone at all. Maybe something is watching. Maybe something is waiting. So if you ever book a stay in a house that feels too quiet, and you hear something knock when no one is there, ask yourself, did you choose this place? Or did it choose you? And whatever you do, don't look inside the closet.